Hey, what is up guys? It is Jed. I had an interesting idea to do a video on my entire history with Fortnite. I'm going to be taking you from preseason 1 all the way to current day. I'm going to be discussing how I felt during certain changes, when I actually played the game, when I took breaks. I just kind of want to clear some things up because people aren't entirely certain about my history with the game, and I think this type of video would be important. Before I begin, I want to touch on subscribing real quick. Remember, if you are subscribed to the channel or are thinking about subscribing, press the bell icon. It's the only way to actually subscribe to the channel. If you consistently want notifications, this is the only way to do it. I kind of wish they would just get rid of the bell icon completely and make subscribing actually do that. But anyways, I just wanted to cover that real quick. It helps me out a lot, but it's not required. So moving on, I'm going to take you back to my very first time ever playing Fortnite. This was during preseason 1. And when I say preseason 1, I'm talking that little span of time before the Halloween update after the game came out. This was the time that I had the most fun with Fortnite. The game had a lot of problems and the gameplay has dramatically improved since then, but I still had fun. It was fresh, exciting, and it was difficult for me. I remember complaining about Chinese players and character customization, and these are things I tend to forget about as the game ages. I started preseason 1 about 5 days after the game released, and we stumbled across it by searching Battle Royale on console. I was a PC player at the time, but Destiny 2 had got me into console for a little bit. Battle Royales were popular on PC, so I figured console had to bring some competition, and only Fortnite came up, but it was very new. I remember thinking when first trying it out that this is too good to be true. The game was absolutely gorgeous, it was free, it wasn't pay to win. The gameplay was smooth, it wasn't clunky, there were no crashes. I wasn't a fan of the mechanics, but I figured they would be addressed pretty quickly, so I was still optimistic about the game. I told my friends at the time that this game was going to make careers. I had no idea it was going to be the biggest thing since Minecraft, but I was fairly certain that this game was going to make it big. The biggest game of that year was Destiny 2, so they essentially had no competition. I knew this because it had a charm to it. Fortnite back in the day forced me to queue back up. I wanted that saucy victory royale. Fortnite left me yearning more Fortnite. I remember getting my first win actually. It was the first day playing Fortnite. We were east of retail and the circle was really small. I had gotten a golden scar. We were spamming walls and ramps like crazy, having no clue how to actually build. I believe it was my full team versus another full team, and we were super focused. We were calling out everything until we eventually won. We were literally screaming with joy because we were all exhausted, but we all agreed that we were not going to go to bed until we got Victory Royale. We were so happy, and I miss that. Nowadays, I could care less about winning. It isn't satisfying or rewarding, but I'll get into that later. Weeks had passed, and a few things were not addressed, so I had felt the need to maybe say something about it. Perhaps a epic, you know this isn't good, right? This is what sparked my 5 problems with Fortnite video. But I continued to stay optimistic. I told myself this team knows what they're doing, they have the consumer's interests in mind. I remember they had taken a month to get the game to a working state before releasing their first wave of cosmetics. This was respectable in my eyes, and it showed they cared about the game and they weren't all about the money. More time had passed, Season 1 arrived, and by that time I had taken a break from Fortnite. I had fully moved over to PC, and the mechanics were really getting to me. I disappeared for probably over a month from YouTube and Fortnite during Season 1. I hadn't really played the game. I understand how trends work though. If I wanted to grow my channel, it was Fortnite, and that's it. This reality started eating away at me. I told myself, are you really going to let your channel perish on a trend that you caught before it was popular? So I had thought. I started putting my brain to work. What do I do? People were already ahead of me as far as the skill gap because I had taken a full season off at that point. I thought maybe talk about some criticisms I have with the game, an updated version of my Fortnite video that had caught any traction at the time. No luck. A few more weeks passed and I had come up with the idea to make Fortnite comedy. I dropped my When Fortnite Gets New Dances video and it popped off, breaking every record I had on my channel at the time. I remember I had made a promise at the end of that video that if people wanted to see a part 2, that I was going to make a part 2. I technically did, but it was way overdue. This was also near the beginning of Season 2, and this was about the time I started getting back into the game. I was playing because I wanted to get good at the game. I was way more interested in that than making comedy. I started watching streamers get really good at the game. It was impressive to me. I remember they were talking the Black Knight skin up, so I told myself that I wanted to pursue that. I started putting more hours into the game, getting pretty good at it for the time. Not many people built, and for the people that did, they got rewarded for it. It was a fun time, and I felt rewarded as a player. Season 2 went on. I logged in every day in pursuit of that Black Knight skin. Then, in my opinion, what is the downfall of Fortnite? January 17th, the map update. The hype was amazing at the time, but if I could pinpoint one specific moment that the game changed for the worse, it would be patch 2.2.0, the map update. They added a lot of new POIs, including Tilted Towers, which Tilted Towers threw off loot distribution and the pacing of mid-game. And from this point on, the game just started to seem more controversial going into Season 3. The minigun was released a few weeks later, which was controversial. The shooting test came out, which was controversial. It was something I actively spoke about. Then the crossbow came out, which was fine, but people were starting to complain that the loot pool was getting way too big. So the next patch, they vaulted the OG SMG and added impulses. I was still grinding throughout all of this. I wasn't making videos. I was playing and trying to get better at the game. Then came Season 3. They were adding a lot of controversial things, but on day 1 of Season 3, they did a pretty good job. I remember they removed double pump, which was extremely controversial. Fixed trees blocking your structures. They added 60 FPS on console, but after all these good changes, they started doing some more questionable things. They added the guided missile, they added the LMG, they permanently implemented the shooting test, added a portafort, clingers, they buffed the minigun. I was still playing and trying to get better at the game through all of this. I just wasn't making videos at the time about stuff that I have issues with. Then Season 4 came. This was the last season that I would participate in. It just didn't feel like Fortnite to me anymore. It wasn't satisfying to win, get kills, or even play. It was just boring to me. I didn't feel rewarded as a player. I sat most of this season out on the sidelines. I didn't really play. I watched them add double pump back into the game, then they adjust shotguns to compensate for the double shotguns, then they added the jetpack, then the shopping cart. I was seeing all these things being implemented and seeing how the community reacted to each and every single one of them. Seeing how toxic the community really had become as opposed to the sunshine and rainbows that the game used to be, I came to the conclusion that Fortnite is finally dying. This conclusion was literally life-changing. I had an idea and people latched on. People agreed in massive numbers that I had no expectation of. I figured it was going to be an unpopular opinion and I was going to get a lot of flack for it. That's why I opened the video requesting that we should all be mature about this. This brought temporary financial support to me, recognition that could potentially make YouTube a sustainable job if I played my cards right, which I don't believe I am, but that's a different story. I acquired this status that was foreign to me. I have talked to people that I originally would have looked up to, seeing people bank off of what I did and the trend that I created. It was absolutely incredible to me, and to actually make a statement in one of the most popular games to ever exist. And I remind myself of that all the time, and I'm so proud of that. Now anyways, moving on. The only times I would ever play Fortnite in Season 4 is to get footage for a video, mess around with some friends in playground mode. I remember there was an instance where I played for like 2 days straight to max out my Season 4 Battle Pass, and I stopped playing directly after that. Season 5 comes along, and I have completely stopped playing the game altogether. I played the first day Season 5 came out to make that video, and I have not played since, outside of playground mode. I don't follow the game on YouTube or Twitch. I'm not familiar with new skins or guns, but I do have an obligation to ride the momentum that I've gained for myself. Right now, I am in a weird situation. I have to make credible Fortnite content when I don't play the game at all. If you hate the game, why do you play it? And that's actually what inspired this video. The truth is, I don't play the game. And also, who is hating it? All I do is criticize the game because I want to see it change. I don't want to kick this game while it's down. I do not participate in Season 5, and I don't care to. I used to root for Epic. I used to swear up and down that this was a competent team that had the players' best interests in mind. I thought they cared about their game, but I can't possibly lie to myself and tell myself that this is still true. Epic and I clearly have two different visions for the game, and is the reason I ultimately quit. I'm going to stick around trying to produce interesting, credible Fortnite content that people would want to watch. This is why I'm always looking for suggestions in my Discord. I frequently ask people for video ideas and I accept DMs about it as well. I want to produce videos and ride this trend for my own benefit. So just know that when I advertise my Discord, not only am I just trying to get people to join, I will actually talk to you. If you go out of your way to get to talk to me, it will happen. It's probably going to happen. So join my Discord. If you have an idea, you want me to make a video on something, tell me. DM me or at me in my general chat or whatever. And there's a good chance that it will happen. If I get enough people that tell me to do a certain thing, I will do it. I mean, that SMG meta video that I did, that was just because a bunch of people told me to do it. I had no interest in making that video until people started telling me, listen, this is something you need to talk about. I talked about it, and the video did really well. So the hardest part of producing these videos is the idea. I need the idea first, and then I go into script writing and recording and all that. Everything after that is easy. I just need the idea first. But that's really all I have for this video. This was more of a about me sort of video instead of me just specifically talking about topic and my opinion on it. This is just running through my experience with the game and why I feel the way I do now. I want to be clear that I don't expect this video to stop the whole if you hate it, why do you play it thing. I don't even really mind those, to be honest. I just figured it was a common misconception and I wanted to address it just so I have something to reference back to when it does happen. I can allow people to truly understand my perspective and experience with the game before they jump on some sort of statement like that. But yeah, that's all I got. I love you guys. Peace out, everybody.